All right, so here is our 2022 Simpit tour video. Recently picked up the Winwing mission instrument panel from Winwing, and have recently kind of set this up just to play test it until I get it set up in an actual, permanent fuselage, whatever. But yeah, I've had a handful of people ask a couple of questions about the Simpit setup. And today we'll talk a little bit about that and my desktop and workbench that my amazing wife has put together for me and got me for birthday this year. But yeah, that's the desktop setup. We'll talk a little bit about that and then kind of the wiring and the Simpit and kind of everything in between, hopefully. So without further ado, we got the desktop. Some projections going on here, but basically we've got DCS going in the background so you guys can kind of see what it looks like while it's running. And I've got Twitch running in the background, kind of showing how I do record, so you can see the picture-in-picture view with the cockpit there, and that's with that web camera. And that's my primary method of capture. And there's running a dedicated server. Here is the mission playback. I don't know what that reprojection is, but it doesn't really affect that up here. So that's the POV of the Oculus, or the Reverb G2, sorry. Our build for this year is a i7-12700K, 64 gigs of DDR4, 2 terabyte NVMe, RTX 3080, water cooling solution, kind of the works. Audio Technica, condenser mic. You got Discord going up over there. 34-inch LG 1080p, and I got a 4K down here that I blew out. I'll talk about that, but I blew it out with a little e-nail that I use for my vape. So whatever. And then I got the I got the USB controller for the mic and super messy desk. Here's my gun bench if you guys are interested in that kind of stuff, but maybe another video for this some other time, clean it up. But moving on to the Simpit. So this is the 2022 Simpit, I guess, if you want to say. If you guys have seen this chair before, kind of lacked this before, the keyboard was where that was in position. All this is pretty functional. It's turned off right now, but you got a side stick controller, got the TM Warthog throttle, Winwing takeoff panel, combat ready panel, mission instrument panel, and a keyboard. As well as a set of Thrustmaster rudder pedals, which are, in my opinion, subpar at best. I've got a 10-port USB 3.0 controller mounted on my desk here, and more shitty wiring back there. Sorry about that, but kind of in a makeshift wiring loom with another USB 2.0 controller, and I have my side stick and a couple of the USB accessories plugged into that and this because it wouldn't reach, and other issues that I was having. But this setup works, so this is kind of a semi-mobile setup, and I can take it anywhere I want if I so choose to break it down in that fashion. But from my experience, this thing has been pretty solid. I fly in VR for the most part, so I didn't get the LCD back panel displays, but with DCS running, you guys can see everything, hopefully. Batteries turned off on the airplane, but all that would work in real life, or while the mission is live. Obviously this stuff is turned off, so it won't work, but that's kind of the setup. I've had a handful of people ask what this all costs. Looking at about $1,800 for the tower these days. Monitor setup, you're looking at about $300 to $400 a piece. And then the peripherals here, $450, $500 for that guy. $500 for the throttle and stick setup, and then I'd say about $150 to $180 per one of these. So do the math on that, somewhere in the ballpark of like $1,200 to $1,500, depending on what flavor of this you want, not including the chair and the rudder pedals and all that. So I don't know, somewhere between $1,500 and $2,000 if you want to get into this type of build. If you want to go as full bore, this isn't the permanent layout, more just kind of play testing it right now, but I've had a handful of people ask for the video about this. Not sure if people are interested in what goes on over there, but more or less that's what's going on over here. So I spend most of my time flying DCS over here. If you guys have any questions about the setup, feel free to drop in the comments. Appreciate a like. Thanks.